Hello, I'm Jim Demo with Clark County Close-Up. Thank you for meeting with us.
Thanks for having us.
Cal, why don't we start with you? First, what is the Home Rule Charter?
Well, it's basically just a document that spells out a form of county government, and home rule simply implies that that form of government is a bottom-up effort from the people of Clark County. A general law form of county government, which is what we have today, is prescriptive. It comes from the state legislature, and every county that's not a home rule county has a general law form of government that's basically the same. 3 commissioners, an elected treasurer, auditor, clerk, prosecuting attorney, sheriff. Home rule can change the structure of county government, but it really doesn't change the roles or responsibilities. So currently, counties have to provide things like assessing property services, building roads, providing court services, and a range of other kinds of programs. And home rule won't change those roles or responsibilities, but it can change the structure of the county government and the processes by which we accomplish those services.
So again, the Clark County is kind of under state guidelines of how the counties are run currently. We could go with this Home Rule Charter, which would change. What other counties have this Home Rule Charter in Washington?
Currently, there are 6 counties that have home rule: King, Whatcom, Snohomish, Pierce, Clallam, and San Juan counties. The first was King County in 1968, and the most recent county to go with home rule is San Juan County in 2005.
So what is the process for drafting a Home Rule Charter?
So on November 5th, 2013, we'll have a general election during which 15 freeholders will be elected, and collectively they'll comprise a board of freeholders. The board of freeholders has a very singular purpose under the Washington State Constitution. That's to develop and write a charter to be presented to the people, who would then vote on it, either accept it or reject it. So they have until 2014 to exist as the Board of Freeholders, but if they get done with the charter prior to that point, then they will automatically be out of office, and the charter gets submitted to the people for a vote without any editing from the Board of Freeholders to the electorate.
Okay, so they would have until the end of 2014 to get it drafted, and so then it would presumably appear on could be on the ballot in November 14, but most likely November 15?
I wouldn't say most likely, but they do have the 2 options. So if they were really fast about it, they could have the charter on the general election ballot in November 2014. If they took their full year of time to complete the process, then it would be on the ballot in 2015. The difference is that in 2014, because it's an election that also has state positions on the ballot, it helps spread the cost, and so there's about a $70,000 some odd dollar difference between 2014 and 2015. So there may be a built-in incentive for the Board of Freeholders to complete their work in a hurry, so it gets on the general election in November 2014.
So basically, freeholders, 15 individuals working to craft the county charter, the Home Rule Charter. That's their role?
Correct.
Okay. And you mentioned 15. Are they based in districts, the freeholders? 3 different districts?
There's a combination of districts and positions, and I don't want to confuse people, so I'll try my best to help explain this. There are about 110 freeholder candidates for these 15 positions. So if you do the division, it's about 7 or so per position. Quite a slate of candidates. But when people go to the ballot, when they complete their ballot, they're only voting for 5 positions in each commissioner district. So if a person lives in Commissioner District 1, for example, they will only have 5 positions that they vote on.
Okay.
And Commissioner 2 has a different slate of 5 positions, or Commissioner District 2 voters have a different slate of 5 positions, and then same with District 3. So what that means is that on average, there are about 35 freeholder candidate positions that are up in each commissioner district. And then again, there are 5 positions within each district. And so on average, about 7 candidates per position.
Okay, so it's going to be a big ballot, big
It
ballot
will
for
be
people.
quite large, probably as large as we've had in Clark County in our history. 110 candidates is quite substantial, although again, for each individual ballot, you're not looking at 110, you're only looking at maybe 35 to 40 or so.
Okay, so let's talk more. What kind of changes could the freeholders possibly do when they rewrite the charter? What are some of the common things that have been done in other charter communities?
Right. Well, the first thing to clarify is that it's unpredictable to answer that question. It's whatever the Board of Freeholders come up with, and they will operate autonomously, not under the influence of the Board of Commissioners or any other entity in the county. So it's whatever they come up with. And different counties do come up with different provisions in their charters, and so you can't say definitively what will be in there, but I would say that the two things which are most often put in a county charter are initiative and referendum. All 6 current county charters do include the powers of initiative and referendum to the people.
Okay. And you talked about what potentially could be on the ballot. Would it be a single vote in 2014 to 2015? Would it be a single vote on the charter, or could it be a multiple vote on different issues?
It could be a combination. It could just be one vote for the charter, approve or reject the charter as presented by the Board of Freeholders. However, it could have alternative provisions in addition to that. And so the county has had one previous experience in having a charter brought to the people, and that was in 2002. Mm-hmm. And during that general election, it was the one question, should we adopt the charter? And then there were 3 additional questions which were alternatives, which if approved would have been placed within the charter. One of those alternatives actually did pass, but the charter itself was rejected by the voters. It was close. Out of about 83,000 votes cast, it was a difference of 187 votes, but it did go down. So because the charter was not approved, it didn't really matter that the alternatives were approved or not. They were alternatives for a charter, so the charter did not succeed. Therefore, the alternatives didn't matter.
Okay, so why is this freeholder election so important?
Well, it's not every day that the voters get the opportunity to change the form and structure of their county government. This is a very rare and unique opportunity. And not everybody will hold the same perspective on that, on how the county may or may not be changed. And so it's important for the voters to really do their homework and to identify those freeholder candidates that are more closely aligned with their own perspectives and to select the one that they think best fits their viewpoint on that question. And this may not happen again. This may be the last time we did this, so we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, so I'm a voter.
Mm-hmm.
How can I find out more information about these candidates or the freeholder process?
So there are several sources of information at this point. One way is to go to the elections office website for Clark County, which is www.clark.wa.gov/elections, and there's information on that page. You can also go to the County Board of Commissioners website, which is when you go to the clark.wa.gov homepage, you'll see an A to Z index. Click on Board of Commissioners, and then when that page comes up under current issues, click on that and you'll find Home Rule. There's more information kind of generally about the Home Rule process there. But the Columbian actually has information available now. They recently had a survey that they did published in the Columbian. So going to the Columbian.com website will probably bring forth information for those who want to see what individual freeholder candidate perspectives may be. And then if anyone has specific questions, I would definitely encourage them to contact me. They can do that by email at Kelly, KELLY.Sills, S like Sam, ILLS like Sam again, at clark.wa.gov, or just give me a call, 360-397-2232, and I'll certainly do all I can to answer any questions people have.
Thank you very much, Kel. Okay, Axel, you're up. Now let's talk about these upcoming advisory votes. First of all, why are there advisory votes on this ballot?
Well, the short answer is because the Board of Commissioners wants advisory votes on the ballot, and I think they got that or heard that from some of their constituents. I think there's been a conversation for quite a while in the community, particularly with regard to the Columbia River Crossing project and sort of how that's evolved or gotten to the point to where it is today. There's been this conversation about having, an up or down vote on the preferred alternative or what was the preferred alternative. And certainly that was the conversation last spring with the board, how to do it, should we do it as an advisory vote in November. And they began working on language around that. And then obviously things happened with the legislative session and the project and funding. But the conversation continued, and it continued to the degree that I think the board discovered there was a number of questions around transportation that they wanted to ask, and so they did. And I think the reason that advisory votes are important, or the board thinks they're important, is that, Kelly talked about initiative and referendum, even as it relates to coming into a charter. But voting's important. And I think from the board's perspective, hearing what their constituents have to say on an important issue that's going to impact the community for a long time is important. And so you're even seeing it at the state level. We talked about how long the ballot will be. I think there's like 5 advisory votes that the state will have on our ballot before you get to our 6 advisory votes, because an initiative passed a couple years ago that requires that around spending bills and tax increases. So you'll see, I think, something like 5 state advisory votes, and then you'll see the 6 from the county.
And again, these advisory votes for the county, they're non-binding.
Yeah, absolutely non-binding. Of course, there's legally binding, and then there's politically binding, and I think that a lot of times with local elected officials, particularly, you look at that. If people are telling you with a high degree of certainty what they think about a particular issue, then I think most of the time folks are likely to listen.
Okay, and so there will be 6 advisory votes. They were selected by the Board of Commissioners to put on the ballot. Can you talk about what are these advisory votes?
Yeah, so 5 of them are related, like I said, to transportation. You'll have the board in its so the Board of Clark County Commissioners sits in a number of capacities on other boards and committees, and a few of those are related to transportation. So, for instance, they sit and have a vote on C-Tran, and they sit and have a vote on the Regional Transportation Council. And so they're asking the voters sort of through that capacity if they should take positions on future transportation projects or not. And so the first 2 are with regard to future light rail projects, and the second one is with regard to future bus rapid transit projects. And the question kind of squarely is, in our capacity on these transportation committees and councils, should we support any future projects related to bus rapid transit or light rail without a positive vote of the people first? And so basically they're saying we can take a position against any project in the future unless the citizens have a chance to vote on it and support it. The other 3 related to transportation are 3 different bridge questions. There's a East County toll-free bridge question. There's a current location I-5 replacement bridge question, and then there's a question related to a West County replacement toll-free bridge. And so the boards there, it's kind of interesting and funny that the three boards of commissioners, members of the commission, have different opinions about where a new bridge should go or a replacement bridge should go. So they ask the 3 questions, and people are going to get the chance to answer up with their opinion on whether or not they think we need a replacement bridge where it currently is, or if it should be on the east side or the west side.
And isn't there also one on fireworks?
Yes, thanks for reminding me.
Sure.
There's a 6th, and it's an advisory vote on fireworks. And the question really is asking folks how they feel about the current county code and what it allows for both the sale and discharge of fireworks in Clark County, and what maybe they'd like to see changed. It kind of centers around, I think, Kelly knows this, in the office we get a lot of calls, complaints, and questions about the fireworks code around the 4th of July. I think we allow something like 8 days you can discharge fireworks in Clark County, and for some folks with pets and with children and different job schedules, that seems like a lot. So we've got a lot of questions this year particularly about should we shorten that amount of time when you can buy and discharge fireworks or not. And I think the board wants to listen to the community and say, put it out for a question and say, how do you feel? Do you like how it's currently working, or would you like to shorten it?
Okay, so I'm a voter sitting down. I have 6 advisory votes, 3 transportation options for bridges. Am I restricted, and can I only select my top, or can I select all 3 if I like all 3 bridge options? What directions are there to voters?
It's a good question, and I was just looking at the sample ballot, which Kelly told you, where you can kind of get on the elections website and get that. You'll be able to answer all 3, particularly with the bridge questions. So, you'll be able to go down and vote on east, west, or the current location of the bridge individually. So.
Okay. And again, this information will be used to potentially help direct the board in how they deal with other transportation agencies, for example. How else will this information be used?
Well, I think it'll be good. I think the board feels like it's going to be good information for a lot of different agencies and organizations. These are regional projects, or could be regional projects. I think the idea there is to, use this advisory vote to get some perspective and direction from people that live here, and say, how do you feel either now or in the future with a large project that's going to cost a lot of money? Do you want to have a voice or say in that project first?
Okay, same question to you. Where can people find out more information about these votes?
I think the best place and the simplest place is just to go, just easily Google Clark County elections. Right on the front page, you're going to find a sample ballot. You're going to find the pro and con statements for all of these advisory votes, which you can read through. You're going to find profiles on all the candidates for the freeholders. So, that's the best place for information. It's very simple.
Okay. Well, thank you both for meeting with us on this complicated and exciting ballot that'll be coming out.
Thank you.
Jim.